This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be here.
Hogs gave you something to cheer about and jeer about this weekend. Are you going to do a dance like Chad Morris?
You know, if you'd like, every time they win, which I think might be 3 or 4 more times this season, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, I'll be happy to do one of those dances.
You will?
For you. Yeah, we'll do it right here.
Really?
Yeah, but
All
not
right.
this week.
Well, no, hold on.
I said in the future, in the future.
So if they beat San Jose State, you're dancing.
Oh, wait a minute. After the San Jose
No.
State game. Hey, wait. I will dance for conference wins. How's that?
No, you might not be dancing this year.
That's what I'm trying to offer something that won't amount to anything. Speaking of politics.
Yeah. Speaker Shepard files a resolution on Friday that calls for members of the Arkansas House to remove Representative Mickey Gates from the House. He's not paid his taxes for a number of years. We talked about this a week ago. Does filing the resolution, does that change the equation any to you? Or are we pretty much where we were a week ago?
Well, we're largely where we were. The question last week was, do you think he will be expelled? And I said, yeah, I don't think Shepard would really have gone this far without doing his preparatory lining up the votes, and I suspect that is so. There are 2 new elements. I said last week that Shepard was relying on a statute which plainly says if you plead no contest to a charge of this sort, you can't serve in the legislature. Gates' lawyer, a good lawyer, Jeff Rosenzweig, saying that's extra constitutional. That's an unconstitutional statute, and it can't be applied. So in his resolution, Shepard is specifically saying, I'm not relying on that statute. I'm relying on the constitutional authority of the House to choose its own membership or control its own membership. The other factor is, apparently, and this may become real, you could expel him, and he could run again next time and get elected. And they could either expel him again or say, well, we give up. The voters want him anyway. So, and he's been elected with this charge pending against him, with the facts of the matter known. So who can say? So it's a little different situation. But I think the big picture is they're probably, if they have to do it, they're probably going to meet in special caucus and expel him pretty soon.
I hear that it will be sometime in the next 30 days when we will see that happen.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to play a special game today. You remember Match Game back in the day?
I do.
You do. Well, we're going to play Match Game Presidential Politics 2020 right here. I'm going to throw out a few Democratic presidential candidates.
Yeah.
You have to tell me what Arkansas politician they remind you of, past or present. They could be Democrats, mostly should be Democrats. Do you want to qualify this before we get going? Because I'm going to throw the names out, and then we're going to see who you come up with.
Well, if you throw out the names I gave you to throw out, then I'm going to look like I'm
extras.
Really quick.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know that I will
We
have
talked
thought
about
about
this
that
in
briefly.
advance, yes.
So I'm not, while I'm certainly quick, I'm not that quick.
I got a few wild cards in
See,
here
I
for
was
you.
afraid of the wild card. Okay, go.
Beto O'Rourke reminds you of?
This is one I was prepared for. Senator Stephanie Flowers of Pine Bluff. This is, Beto has upset everyone in the Democratic establishment because he said in the debate, hell yes, I'm going to take your assault weapons. Well, I was on a panel with a couple of Republicans over the weekend, and all they want to talk about in the presidential race is Beto O'Rourke and the Democrats are going to take your gun. Beto also he's made that his essence of his campaign, the gun issue, and he uses a lot of profanity. He's used the F word. He's used, to emphasize his point. Senator Flowers, and while he's admired for doing that, for his passion on the issue, it is sort of a problem in the mainstream for the Democratic Party. Senator Flowers has had 2 extreme, emotional, passionate outbursts against guns and the prevailing gun culture of the Arkansas legislature. She's been a little bit profane about it, very passionate. She's gotten 1 million hits on YouTube. She's become famous. People admire her passion on the issue and understand it, but in the Arkansas political culture, it's not something other Democrats are comfortable being associated with. They will praise it quietly among themselves and hope it goes away.
And of course, the Republicans will
exploit it.
Them, yes.
Will exploit it. So in that extent, Beto and Stephanie Flowers. That's a correlation, a match.
All right. How about Pete Buttigieg?
Yeah.
Who does he remind you
Well,
of?
this one's easy. Pete Buttigieg is good pals with our local Clarke Tucker. Clarke Tucker is a year older than Buttigieg. Clarke Tucker was the student president of the Kennedy School the year before Buttigieg was. They're pals. There was a picture in the New York Times of about 6 smart Harvard kids at Fenway Park at a Red Sox game. The photo credit, Nate Coulter. He was the guy who took the picture, so it was an all Arkansas thing, but there's Buttigieg and Tucker. And I remember when Buttigieg was starting to make noise in the race, and I found out about Clarke Tucker's association, I asked Tucker about Buttigieg, and he said, here's the thing. Unlike a lot of other politicians, when he's getting a very tough question, you can be comfortable that he can deal with it, because we can rest assured that Pete has spent 10 years thinking seriously about it. When I think we see that.
Yeah.
Also, Buttigieg has this manner in which he tries to be more thoughtful and civil about the way he expresses left of center views, to try to redefine the terms and to try to get people to behave better in their political rhetoric. Clarke Tucker, I think that applies to Clarke Tucker in Arkansas. He's been in the House. He's probably going to go to the Senate, and he in his race with French Hill, just for an example. In a post-mortem on the race, over a beer at the Oyster Bar, I said to him, French Hill had Tom Cotton's PAC doing his dirty work. Tom Cotton's PAC was accusing you of being friends with Mexican criminal gangs. And why you didn't come out and say French Hill ought to fight his own battles, he's not man enough to fight his own battles, and jump Tom Cotton, I do not understand. And he said literally to me, that's just not my style. He ended up, as you remember, closing his campaign with repeated advertising saying, where is the decency? Mm-hmm. He chose to do it a Buttigieg way. So I see that similarity. Where was the decency? 45%.
Yeah, well, that's where it was.
White County, 20%.
You know, I can tell you who Buttigieg reminds me of in Arkansas politician, Bill Gwaltney. Smart guy, in the room, thinking a little bit outside the box, as you mentioned, talks about some issues and tries to redefine them in some other ways. I think Bill Gwaltney was that way. When he was up at the state Senate, was very good at that.
I think the Democrats are going to blow this presidential race. And Buttigieg somehow has lost currency. He was hot for a while, but people seem to be more interested in this more incendiary, traditional liberal rhetoric right now. He's the future, I think. The kind of politics he's expressing, and he's the future because it will work, and it can broaden. It can soften the Democratic Party in the minds of swing voters. I really believe that he is.
All right, I'm going to give you a choice on this one.
Okay.
So, because I'm going to surprise you on this one. So, Elizabeth Warren, which was not one we talked about before we got on here, does she remind you more of Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton? Oh. She's got a policy position on everything. Is she a better campaigner than Hillary Clinton?
Roby. If I answer that, I'm going to be run right out of the state. That is a nasty, nasty question. And you know the cultural implications of that question.
Do you want to
If I say, she reminds me more of Hillary Clinton, and you'll say why, and I say because they're not easy to warm to. People are going to say, you just don't like the woman. So I'm going to say she reminds me more of Bill Clinton for my own self-protection, and also because you know how Bill Clinton had a policy for everything?
Yes.
He just did. I mean, you name it, he's got a plan. She beats him on that. Now, I do think she has some of the liability in terms of appeal to swing voters. I don't know why. And I hope I don't get beaten up for saying that, but I think that's a gender thing. I don't think it is. I think Amy Klobuchar would be more appealing to the center and maybe a better nominee. But Elizabeth Warren is on fire with right now, and is the second best bet to get the nomination. And she does, the wealth of her. There's a Twitter meme about some of the esoterica of her policy. She's got things changing the rules of procedure and lawsuits and things. She's got a plan on just about everything you can imagine.
I think she's a better campaigner than Hillary Clinton, and that was Bill Clinton's strength. You know, the joke was always Bill Clinton would rather campaign than govern.
Right.
And I do think that she's better out on the campaign trail than Hillary Clinton was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think she inspires people. She draws big crowds. She plays well to big, friendly crowds. If she's a nominee, and she might be, she's going to have to show me an ability to appeal to independent swing voters that I'm a little bit dubious of, but largely because she wants to take away everybody's health insurance. I think if she becomes a nominee, she's going to have to sidle away from that little position. But you know who was real good at sidling away from position? Bill Clinton. He could make you forget he was ever for something the day before.
One of my favorite George Fisher cartoons of all time is Bill Clinton and somebody, a shadowy, it was like a shadow on top of a mountain overlooking the Ouachita National Forest. And they said, Governor, it's beautiful, isn't it? And he said, well, that depends. Are you a forester or an environmentalist? So.
Right.
All right, Cory Booker. Who does Cory Booker remind you of?
You know, I read a piece the other day that said Cory Booker has, and it listed some of the critiques of his performance in the now 3 debates, and in each of them, people have made the observation, by the way, while we were worrying about Joe and worried about Elizabeth and Kamala and the others, Cory Booker did very well. They've said that in all 3 debates. Yet he's not moved in the polls, and I think probably will be out of the race in short order. That reminds me, and I mean this with great respect, with Senator Will Bond. Senator Will Bond is a Democratic moderate from Little Rock in the state Senate, a lawyer, very smart guy, very well spoken, has a thoughtful, clear position on many issues, but he never gets anywhere in the Senate because it is so overrun with conservative leadership. He's not that he's not respected there, it's just that he keeps getting good reviews, but it comes to no actual avail. Now what's he doing? He's getting out. And Clarke Tucker is likely to get that seat. So I see a little bit of a similarity there.
I can't let you go without asking about the front runner, Joe Biden. Who does Joe Biden remind you of?
By the way, Donald Trump reminds me of Tommy Robinson. That's a very
He's
clear,
a rich man's Tommy Robinson,
he
isn't
is.
he?
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid this. Joe is a one only.
No.
Joe is a one only.
Go back to the days when Kim Hendren was a Democrat.
That's who I was going to say.
How about that?
What a remarkable thing. Because that's the only thing I can think of. Because I had a one-liner for you, which is, I don't know anybody else in Arkansas politics right now who's nearly 80 who says we can improve our race relations by listening to record players, which is what he said the other night. And I don't know what that was about, but that's what he said. But Joe, sort of a man who's genial, that you like, but who can be brutally candid, or sometimes more than candid. He can say things that just leave you scratching your head. It is true. When you mentioned you might bring up Joe, I said, that's going to be my answer. Nobody, because but I did. If there's anyone, it's Kim Hendren.
Who was a Democrat.
He was a Democrat at one time, ran for governor against Bill Clinton in the Democratic primary, then became a Republican. And I mean, he just, you never knew what we were going to get, Kim, but it was going to be quotable.
I think that as long as Joe Biden does not put out a policy position on teaching cursive writing,
Right.
We're probably all right with that comparison. What do you think?
Yeah, and I don't think Joe's going to. Joe's not about, where Elizabeth Warren is all about policy, Joe said, let me just be good old Joe with the blank slate.
It's about offering some contrast.
That's extreme contrast. The Democrats certainly have a choice in those two.
He is John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Always good to
I would
be
say
with
that
you.
was fun, but it really wasn't.
You might get a column off of the feedback of it. How about that?
Well,
It felt a little painful for you there.
Well, Elizabeth and Hillary, I've been down that road, and now I just went down it again. Thank you very much.
Anytime, my friend.
All right.
Anytime.
All right.
All right. You're dancing soon. All right.
Conference win. Conference win.
No. You said win. I'm going to replay the tape. We're going to find out what you originally said.
I'm going to Clintonize on that. I'm going to sidle away from that. All right.
Thanks.
You bet.
That's all for today's show. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.